Today I'm going to review one of the first released anamorphic lenses with autofocus, the Sirui 40mm f1.8 1.33X anamorphic lens, and I'm going to review it on my Fujifilm X-T5. So this is the start of a new era of lenses. I never thought we will see anamorphic lenses with autofocus, but here we are, and I think this year is going to see a lot of releases like this. This should be an exciting lens for videographers and photographers as well. Having autofocus makes it a great option for content creators that want to spice up their footage a bit. Like all lenses we've seen from Sirui, this lens is very well built. Metal body, metal rings, metal mount with an USB Type-C port for future updates. I already updated the lens and it improves the autofocus performance. I left a link for Fujifilm X users in the description in case you got this lens and haven't updated yet. The iris ring has nice firm clicks, it is well damped and satisfying to use when you want to change T-stops. And the good news is that it can be declicked. This is going to be great for more video-centric users. This can be done with a switch found on one side of the lens. The focus ring has gears on it for people that want to use it with a follow focus system. Sadly, it doesn't have hard stops, making it a bit hard for people that want to use it with a follow focus. Also, these rings are electronically controlled. Nothing happens if the camera is turned off. On the other side of the lens you have an AF/MF switch and an autofocus lock that has a nice click when it is used. The filter thread is 77mm, and while looking at the front of the lens we can see an spherical element. This makes me believe this is a hybrid lens, not a classic anamorphic lens. You can see more info about this on the Sirui website. And the minimum focus distance is 60 cm. Pretty good for an anamorphic lens in my opinion, but more about this later. The lens has a nice design. If you get the blue flare one like mine here, you will have a blue ring around the lens. If you get the neutral flare, the one that adapts to the color of the light, you will have a silver ring around the lens. The weight is 614 grams. It may differ from mount to mount, and for an anamorphic lens it is not that big and easy to balance on a rig or a gimbal. One thing I like is that Sirui made some new lens caps and they easily fit the lens, not like the one on the Nightwalker lenses. I am glad they listened. The lens comes in a nice box and inside you get some papers, the lens and caps, and a nice protective pouch for those interested in such a thing. Now let's talk about image quality. At T1.8 the image is decently sharp in the center for 4K video. For some it may seem soft, for me it is good enough. If you want more details, use the 4K high quality mode or the 6K on your Fujifilm camera. The corners are soft, but they manage to draw the attention to the center, which I like on an anamorphic lens. Stop down to T2.8 for overall better sharpness, and if you stop down to T4, the image is sharp enough for any pixel peeper. At T1.8 you can see some purple fringing on contrasting edges and some loca, longitudinal chromatic aberrations. These go away if you stop down to T2.8 or T4. Vignetting is not a problem on this lens, even wide open. The flares on this lens are subtle, and the closer the source of light is, the more intense they get. This may differ on the final product because I have a pre-production unit. The minimum focus distance is 60 cm as I said earlier, and the image quality is quite good starting from T1.8. I know 60 cm is not impressive, but for an anamorphic budget lens it is quite good in my opinion. One characteristic of an anamorphic lens is the oval bokeh shape on the Sirui lens that has a hexagonal shape at T1.8 and gets oval at T2.8. Some people may like this, some won't. Let's talk about the 1.33X. A Fujifilm APS-C sensor typically records in 16:9. A 1.33X anamorphic lens expands this 16:9 frame to approximately 2.35:1 when squeezed in post, making the final aspect ratio 2.35:1 CinemaScope, a classic widescreen film format used in Hollywood. The benefit here is that you get an authentic widescreen look without cropping or losing resolution. And finally, the autofocus of the lens. Keep in mind this is a pre-production unit and Fujifilm didn't fix or improve the autofocus that much with the 4.10 firmware on the X-T5. As you can see here, the autofocus is decent. It has a stepping motor, so on Fujifilm cameras it works in steps, but it works. While I used the lens, I had some missed focused footage, but that happened just 2 times. Almost forgot about the focus breathing. As you can see here in this footage, there is a bit of focus breathing. Overall, a well-built, first-of-its-kind anamorphic lens with good image quality in my opinion. While the anamorphic characteristics are more subtle here, I think this is a good start for anamorphic lenses with autofocus, and it is going to make a lot of people very happy. I can't wait to see what Sirui are going to do next. A 1.33X anamorphic lens on an APS-C Fujifilm camera is one of the most affordable ways to get a true anamorphic widescreen look without cropping or losing image quality. If you shoot video and want a cinematic professional aesthetic, this is in my opinion a great option. If this video was helpful, like, subscribe, and if you want to support the channel even more, use the links in the description at no extra cost to you. Thank you for watching, see you next time.